his turn. Shripati, if I could come to you, Dhaka has asked New Delhi to use its influence with Myanmar's leadership to help send the Rohingyas back to the Rakhine. How much can New Delhi actually manage going by the current tensions between the Myanmar military and the Arakan army?
Well, if I can be undiplomatic and blunt, nothing is going to come of it. Because if you look at the history of the Rohingya issue, and especially the illegal refugee crisis, since the 90s till 2017, when you had about 700,000 Rohingyas from the Rakhine province, formerly known as the Arakan province of Myanmar, spilling over to Bangladesh. This was the third incident. And the outflow of Rohingyas was not in drips and drops, but swarms. One. Two, this time what the Tatmadaw, which is the Burmese army, has done is that they have gone by the old adage, no man, no problem.
Yeah.
They don't have a single Rohingya in the Rakhine province. They don't have a single Rohingya in Myanmar worth mentioning. Therefore, it is the problem of the rest of the world, whether it be Bangladesh, whether it be India, whether it be the international community, whether it be in the case of human smuggling and all associated organized crimes in Southeast Asia, whether it be Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, and thank God, not Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So that is the problem with the whole world.
Shripati, how do you view... Right. I'm sorry to interject.
Sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry to interject because the burgeoning question that still remains unanswered is that just ahead of a bilateral meet, Sheikh Hasina said that India can do a lot as far as the Rohingya crisis is concerned and in terms of repatriating them back to the Rakhine. What made her exactly say that, and how do you think the bilateral went? Because as I pointed out earlier, a host of MOUs were signed, but nothing referred to the Rohingya crisis per se.
Well, for Bangladesh, I will not as much pin it on Sheikh Hasina, the Honorable Prime Minister, but Bangladesh as a state, this is a very sensitive issue for a simple issue of statistics. The country's population is what, 16, 17 million, and you have got 1.1 Rohingyas whose ethnicity, whose identity, whose education, whose outlook is quite different. Second is that Bangladesh, for I would say kind of for 75 years, going from 1947, has had a very unstable and uncomfortable domestic political issue, whether it be in terms of political violence or organized violence in terms of militancy and terrorism. So for them, and let us not forget that the Rohingyas are not as innocent as we think. In the 80s, you had the Rohingya Solidarity Organization, of which few of the boys had gone to Afghanistan. They have got a toehold in Karachi. They've got toehold in Saudi Arabia, and before the 2017 Rohingya crisis, you had Rohingyas in Jammu, you had Rohingyas in Delhi, you had those people in Hyderabad and
they were
Rajasthan.
Very much in Delhi, in fact, in detention centers, which also led to the entire controversy of those ICWA flats.
That is today. And they were also found in a small colony all the way down south in Chennai. Yes, so their movement is not just across the border, but they kind of move across the world.
All right.
So in that sense, and their network and govern the background they come and the ability to be radicalized easily, the security issue is not as simple. For Bangladesh, there is a far more serious issue, which, if I may be permitted more than a minute to explain, is that in a country like Bangladesh or in most countries, the political spectrum is split between left and right. How far of left and how far of right is immaterial. And in the case of Bangladesh, that political split overspills into its foreign policy. Are you seen as pro-India? Are you seen as anti-India? So for the state, there is always the subconscious issue whether these guys would be made sacrificial lambs for someone else's agenda.
Right.